Memory researchers have discovered something remarkable about how the brain stores physical experiences. The nervous system doesn't record touch as a continuous experience, it encodes it in emotional peaks and, most significantly, in endings. The final moments of a physical interaction carry disproportionate weight in long term emotional memory. This is called the peak end rule, and it was documented extensively by Nobel Prize winning psychologist Daniel Kahneman. Applied to something as ordinary as a hug, it means the last 2 seconds of that contact shape what she remembers about the entire experience and about you, far more than anything that happened in the middle. Most men have never considered this, and it changes everything about what happens after she pulls away. Here is something a lot of men experience but rarely say out loud. She hugs you, genuinely, warmly, and in that moment, everything feels right. But then the contact ends, and you're not quite sure what to do with the transition. Do you say something? Do you hold eye contact? Do you move on immediately to whatever comes next as if nothing significant just happened between you? Most men default to the last option. Not because they don't care, but because nobody ever taught them that the moment after physical contact is as psychologically loaded as the contact itself. The transition out of a hug communicates something to her nervous system that either deepens the connection the hug created or quietly dissipates it. You feel the warmth of what just happened. You want it to mean something. You want to stay in her mind in the way that she stays in yours. But the specific practical knowledge of how to honor that moment, how to carry it forward rather than let it evaporate, has never been clearly laid out for you. That changes now. The most significant mistake men make after a hug isn't what they do, it's how fast they vanish into whatever comes next. Neuroscientist James Cohn's social baseline theory demonstrates that the brain uses close relationships as a fundamental resource for regulating stress and emotional safety. Physical contact with a trusted person actively downregulates the threat detection circuitry in the brain, but this neurological shift requires time to complete. When contact ends abruptly and the person immediately redirects their attention elsewhere, the nervous system registers a mild form of interruption, an incomplete circuit that leaves a subtle emotional residue of disconnection. Picture this: she hugs you after a difficult day, pulls back, and you immediately reach for your phone or turn toward the refrigerator. Technically, nothing went wrong, but her nervous system logged the transition as he was there, and then he was immediately somewhere else. The actionable shift is 2 seconds. After the physical contact ends, stay. Keep your attention on her for just a breath longer than feels strictly necessary. Let the moment have a natural conclusion rather than an abrupt one. Those 2 seconds of continued presence tell her nervous system that the contact mattered, that you didn't just pass through it on your way to something else. Eye contact immediately following physical touch is one of the most neurochemically potent forms of continued connection available, and almost nobody uses it intentionally. Research on oxytocin release documents two primary triggers in adult social bonding: physical touch and mutual gaze. Crucially, these two pathways are additive, meaning that eye contact following physical contact compounds the neurochemical bonding effect rather than simply maintaining it. The brain's reward circuitry, already activated by the hug, receives a second wave of reinforcement through sustained mutual gaze. Imagine the hug ends. She steps back slightly and your eyes meet. You hold that gaze warmly, without intensity or pressure, for 3 to 4 seconds, not staring, not performing, simply staying present in her face after your bodies have separated. The practice is this: when the hug releases, resist the pull to immediately look away or redirect. Let your gaze follow her naturally and stay there with genuine warmth for a few quiet seconds. That moment of eye contact after physical contact is experienced by the nervous system as an extension of the hug itself, connection continuing through a different channel. Words spoken in the moments immediately following physical warmth are encoded differently than words spoken in ordinary conversation, and specificity is what determines whether they land or dissolve. Psychological research on positive relationship maintenance, particularly work emerging from the Gottman Institute's longitudinal studies on couples, identifies specific positive acknowledgement as one of the highest predictors of felt emotional connection. Generic affirmations, "that was nice," or "I love you," spoken reflexively, activate minimal emotional processing. Specific observational statements activate deeper neural engagement because they require the speaker to have actually paid attention. After she hugs you, say something that could only be said about this moment with her, not a script, something real. Maybe something about how she smells, something about how it felt to hold her after a particular week, something small and true and specific to right now. The specificity tells her that you were genuinely present in the contact, that you weren't just going through a physical motion, but were actually there, noticing her, storing the experience as something worth noting. That kind of specific acknowledgement stays with a person far longer than any compliment that could have been said to anyone. What happens in the 10 minutes following a moment of genuine physical connection determines whether that connection compounds or fades, and most men unknowingly choose the fade. Somatic psychology research on emotional state maintenance shows that the nervous system remains in a heightened state of social openness for several minutes following meaningful physical contact. This window, sometimes called the post-contact integration period, is when the emotional memory of the interaction is being consolidated. How the subsequent environment feels during this window significantly shapes how the entire experience is ultimately stored. She hugs you, and then you both sit down together. If those next 10 minutes involve genuine conversation, warmth, laughter, real attention, her brain consolidates the hug and everything that followed into a single positive emotional memory. If those 10 minutes involve distraction, coldness, or disconnection, the hug memory gets complicated by what came after. Stay warm, stay present. Keep the thread of connection alive through how you engage in the ordinary moments that follow. The hug opens something. The next 10 minutes decide whether it stays open. Staying on her mind isn't about saying the perfect thing or executing the right move at the right moment. It is about making her feel consistently, specifically, in the small moments that most people rush past, that being close to you is a genuinely different experience than being close to anyone else, that you notice her, that you stay, that the warmth doesn't evaporate the moment the physical contact ends. These four things, staying 2 extra seconds, holding her gaze, saying something true and specific, carrying the warmth forward, are not techniques. They are expressions of genuine presence, and genuine presence, offered consistently, is what makes someone impossible to stop thinking about, not because you did something clever, because you made her feel something real. If this kind of grounded, honest conversation about connection resonates with you, subscribe. Every week, we go this deep into the neuroscience and psychology of what it actually means to build intimacy that lasts. See you in the next one.